Bill Anderson, and Kenny Parker. Brought to you by First Bank of Shelbyville. And Kincaid Service Company. Let's talk some sports. Here are your hosts, David Thomas, Bill Anderson, and Kenny Parker.
Welcome in, everybody. It's March. Bedford County Sports Live. I'm Bill Anderson, Coach Kenny Parker, Jason Boyett, and our special guest. Very special. Community Coach Robbie Davis.
Yeah, that's it. This is what we call best of the best in Bedford.
Best of the best in Bedford?
Bedford the best in Bedford. We got Mr. Coach Robbie Davis.
You know who started this whole thing, right? That was the guy that you left the football job to at Cascade, Coach Tyre.
Did he?
Yeah. Him and Coach Grooms got together, and it was it was when they were in separate regions, I believe, in classifications.
Right.
So they had a pink out game for both. And
yeah,
so they came up with...
We wore pink. We had a pink out game when I was coaching.
Yeah, it was Coach Tyre that came up with this, hey, let's do like colleges do and play for something for this game. And then it's caught fire ever since.
Cool.
So, yeah, we get
pretty neat.
Yeah. So
let's hear from our sponsors real quick, and we'll be back. We're going to dive into a little high school action. Let's hear from First Bank and Kincaid
Service
Company.
We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Kincaid Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street.
Hey, welcome back in Bedford County Sports Live. We're going to talk a little high school basketball. Let's talk about the Shovel Girls to start with. They got finished up with it here with a nice year. They're 16-11 for the year.
Winning
record, had a good year. First year coach. Got beat by Lincoln County 64-48, but they did beat Warren County for the third time to get third in the district. And last night they fell in the region to Page 64-46.
Which is a pretty good ball.
Page is pretty good.
Pretty good basketball.
Big improvement this year over the last few, for sure.
Right.
And graduating, Jason, how many?
I think 3,
All three. Big.
We got a lot of freshman, sophomore girls coming back.
Good. Great.
We will miss those seniors, though. They were a good bunch.
Right.
One of them scored 1,000.
That's right.
1,000.
That's right.
Yeah, that's big.
But it's good to see the Shovel Girls getting back.
Yeah,
getting back rolling again.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the boys for a minute. Kind of exciting because they beat Coffee County in the district 55-39, and then they beat Lincoln County 60-56 to win the district for the first time in 17 years.
Cool.
Wow.
Great.
Wow.
Who was the last team to do that?
It was Kevin Thomas back in 06-07. That was the last time they did it. Kevin Thomas was here. That's been a minute.
And
Yeah, that's been a while.
Great turnaround for the Shovel boys. Congratulations to Coach Young and the guys. And guys, we got a game right here in Shelbyville tonight. Region action.
6 o'clock.
Yeah, and that's going to be who do they play?
Nolensville
Knights.
The Knights.
I was talking to Coach Workman this week, and he was congratulating, of course, Coach Young. We were talking about that. And he said Nolensville's I'm sure they are. He said, you got to play pretty good. You get into the region here, everybody's pretty good. You better play good.
That region
Competition's good over there.
Good. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
You know, what's crazy about that is the last 4 classifications, Nolensville was in our district.
Yeah.
They were in 2A.
Yeah, they were 2A. Yeah, because they were a startup program and they just had freshmen, sophomores. And then they went freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, which allowed them to stay there.
Because it wasn't 20%, even though they were twice the enrollment of us, Cascade and Forest.
Right.
But they let them stay there for another 2 years.
These are the same guys you played, probably.
Yes.
Juniors and seniors now.
Except there's, you know, we always say they're juniors and seniors now. They're not freshmen, sophomores anymore.
Yeah. That's if you ever been to their campus, it's a small little college campus.
We all talk about this new in Battle Creek.
Yeah.
Right.
They got nothing with Nolensville.
No.
And I think Battle Creek is built on the same specs as Nolensville was.
So this is a big night for Shelbyville, for the boys team. And I think we got a good shot tonight.
Yep.
Yeah,
I really do.
I do too.
Yeah.
And it's been, and like I said, 17 years to win a district. That's something. They came in second in the district. What was a little surprising was in that district tournament was Lincoln County beating Warren County, y'all. That shocked a lot of people.
Yeah. Warren County fell off the skid lately.
And then Coffee County turns around and beats Warren County and makes Warren County fourth.
Right.
They
I don't
got
know what
four.
happened to Warren County there towards the end.
And I thought they were the best team by far.
I did too.
After Cheville beat them, they were the number one team in the district. At Cheville beat them, and they hit the skid row ever since.
Well, they did.
I don't know.
I don't know.
They had won 2 or 3 ball games since then.
We'll talk Cascade a minute. Cascade beat Grundy County earlier in the district, 41-26. The girls and the boys lost to Cannon County 60-59. Or the girls rather lost to Cannon County 60-59. I think the Cannon County girls are pretty good, aren't they?
They are, but Cascade girls had a chance to win that, and they had a tough situation happen to them at the end of the game. And we won't elaborate a whole lot with it, but it was a lack of communication that may have cost Cascade a possession, and but we won't go there. But they bounced back last night. They didn't let that bother them.
Got a region win, 57-35 over Lewis County.
They bounced back last night, played well against Lewis County, and I was telling you guys before, Lewis County's best player, the big girl inside, that you could tell that's who they tried to feed her to. When she fouled out of the game, she had still yet to score a point.
Wow.
So they put
Shut her
great defense on her, and they played really good ball. It looked really good. Now they have to be playing good, Coach Davis. You know, this time of year you better be playing good.
Yeah, it's the district tournament. I always tell our guys it's like the SEC tournament, and then when you get to the region, you're down to 64 teams in each classification. So it's the NCAA tournament. So now they're in the 32.
March Madness is here.
Yeah, you're 32 minutes from the final 16. So guarantees you 2 more games. So
yeah, well, your night tonight's a big night, but then Tuesday night for you is the big night.
Big night.
Whoever plays on Monday night and Tuesday night are the big night, because that win guarantees you 2 more in sectional.
The basketball postseason is very forgiving. You know, you could technically go 4-3 in the postseason and still make the state tournament.
If you lost on the right night,
you got to lose on the right nights and just
Cascade boys lost to Grundy County 47-39. And then Coach Davis, you had a battle with them, didn't you? 55-53. What a game.
Yeah, we went to overtime. And it was just back and forth. And, you know, Grundy's gym is a pretty unique kind of setup there, where you got the students sitting on one end and you got a regular shooting on the other. But it was, you know, just back and forth. A really good game. You know, for us, we've had one game where I've had everybody healthy. That's kind of been our struggle. And it's just, it seems like something all the time. Like, you know, we're going down tonight and we're going to be missing some guys. Got the flu going around. So, you know, it was nice to see our guys come out and compete, you know, for a full 32 minutes.
I know you can't answer this on air, and don't answer this question off the air. Had you rather be going to where you're going tonight or where Cascade's going tonight? I know one trip shorter.
Yeah. One trip shorter, but we already played at Mount Pleasant this year. And Mount Pleasant's a horrible matchup for us.
A horrible matchup for Cascade, too, because I saw Cascade play them at Cascade.
It's a bad matchup. We played them right first game after Christmas. It's not
a unique gym also.
Yes. My first sub-state game was in that gym. And it can get away from you quickly.
And that's where the bleachers are elevated and one of them old
gyms, and it's a different shooting environment. It's got one of the walkways like Shelbyville has that goes around the top partially, and it's different. It's a different. You know, Loretta's got the new gym. It's more of a traditional type gym, but you know, when you talk about upsets, that happened on the other side too.
Back in their play, because their number one team wound up 4th.
Yeah, Summertown, who had really competed with Loretto. Loretto's ranked number 1 in the state. They're 29-0. But Summertown battled them pretty good. And I believe the standings, they finished 2nd or maybe 3rd. But once they lost to Loretto there in the semis, Lewis County turned around and upset them in the consolation game. So now one of their better teams is going to Cannon tonight. So it's you know,
And Loretta has a player going to Indiana. Is that right?
They got a point guard who has some really good looks. Then they got the Burleson kid who transferred from Summertown, who at one point I think he was going to Vandy to play baseball. But they got the Bowie kid.
They got some athletes.
They go 6'9", 6'5", 6'5" across the back line. Wow. And then Tidwell, Blade Tidwell's younger brother that pitched at Tennessee, is one of their shooting guards. I want to think they've got maybe 3 or 4 guys that have over 1,000 points.
And say here in the last 3 or 4 years, Loretta, athletic wise, has just hit sort of like Gremlin, throw them in the fall, and so they got boys and girls.
Yeah, and you know,
boys and girls.
In our classification, all you really need in basketball is about 2 players a class. If you can get 2 to 3 a class that can really play, now you got almost 10 guys that can get out and go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but they got 3 seniors, I believe, and the rest of them are juniors. They're well, they passed the eye test. Those football teams used to get off the bus and you go, oh yeah, that looks like
put
something.
Them all first. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they definitely passed the eye test for sure. So,
well, talking about community, the girls lost to Cannon County 59-47. They beat Grundy County 55-54, and then last night in the region they fell 44-27 to Loretto,
which is a really good basketball.
Even the girls basketball, they're really good there too.
Really good girls basketball team.
Coach, you gave Cannon County all they wanted to, 55-52. I mean, just close game after close game down the stretch for you. These were one-possession games, buzzer games. Yeah, it's been crazy, hasn't it?
It's getting guys back, and starting to play together there towards the end. Getting Landon Berman back was huge. Chemistry, it means a lot, and having that senior that's been through that stuff. The Cannon game, we didn't get off the bus in the first quarter. I mean, we were down 16-2 to start the game. And then we had a nice little chat at halftime and come out with a little different inspiration. I'm actually 1 expo marker short now. But we started.
It's all over your hands.
I was afraid it hit the wall there. And I told Coach Butner at Grundy, I said, if there's a mark over there, let me know and I'll get that cleaned up for you. But our guys came out a little bit more inspired, and it was amazing what happens when you play defense on one end and you limit guys to one shot.
Imagine playing defense all the time. We always say defense is
defense and rebounding.
Sport.
Defense and rebounding.
Any sport, it travels. Defense is the thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk Webb for a minute. The Webb girls beat Goodby Pasture earlier this week. The girls at Webb are on a roll, 41-36, and they beat Providence Christian 49-41, and then they won last night 66-23
so
over 1 Point Christian.
They're state tournament bound.
They're there.
Yeah, they're a division. We're in region. They were in sectionals. Yeah. So we go to sectionals. They're in state. So they're one step ahead of the public schools.
And they're I want to think their regions are bigger. I think they have a team 12 to 14 teams.
I think like 4 teams make it out of that region. It's not 2 like in public school, right?
Yeah, that's what threw me off. Softball. It's really, really weird how we had to do that.
Yeah, the postseason for our sports needs to be adjusted just a tad bit. It's basketball's too forgiving, and then your baseball, softballs isn't forgiving enough. I mean, when you may have, like I said, we were talking about the district we're going into in softball. When you got 4 of the best softball teams in the state in one district, only taking 2. In a sport that can be played more games over time.
Yeah.
Why not take 3? Why not take 4? Where you have your 1 versus 4 in a one game, boom, 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 you're done.
Right. And a sport where one good pitcher could just take a game over.
It's softball for sure.
Right, yeah.
Softball for sure.
Yeah, baseball with the pitch counts a little more.
Yeah, it's harder in baseball.
Definitely.
Softball, definitely.
Softball, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that district, I mean, I just think there needs to be an adjustment. If you're going to, you got to kind of look at those things.
That district, there's going to be 4 teams that play in that district that were in the state tournament 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And 2 of those teams won't make it to the region.
And we're talking about state champions. Getting to the finals. And
multi-wins in the state tournament, because I've been there.
Not just
multi-wins in the state tournament.
Yeah, they didn't get a participation trophy.
No.
They're there winning games.
They don't get one of those little ribbons.
No.
Participation ribbon.
No. We'll mention the Webb boys real quick. They lost to Good Pasture 58-72. A tough loss to St. George 61-59. Webb boys have lost some really close games down the stretch. Their season's over now. And I think they lost the last 3, and a couple of them just barn burners like Coach Davis had, where they were losing just really tough.
Yeah.
Tough. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little baseball because not only are you the head basketball coach, you're also the head baseball coach at Community.
Yeah, I got the this week it's kind of unique. We scrimmaged Eagleville on Wednesday, who's the 3-time defending state champs, and now we're going to the number 1 team in the state in basketball tonight.
Right.
So, I don't know if anybody can claim in 4 days in 2 sports you played 2 number 1 teams like that. So it's it becomes long days for sure.
Yeah, let's take a break and hear from First Bank and Kincaid
Service
Company.
We'll be right back.
Kincaid Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street.
Welcome back in, everybody. It's March. That means a little baseball. We're going to talk that for just a second. We've got
and
baseball, softball, all sorts of stuff.
I'm leaving here to go to the field myself.
Coach, where did you Twitter up the Tennessee Monarchs? Who in the world is that?
Twitter them up.
The Monarchs have been around for
They've
a
been
long
around for a
time.
long time.
Yeah. They've been around for a while.
Mhm.
They're like the Middle Tennessee homeschool
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
homeschool
teams.
team.
And a couple of years ago, they had a kid that signed with MTSU.
They have been
So they
known
get some
to
good
have
players.
some players.
Yeah,
They have
it's
been.
a lot of
because-
teams around here play the Monarchs.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah,
And I mean, those kids come from 2 or 3 different counties.
Yeah.
4, and they just come in sort of like they're not hardly a travel team, but basically a travel team.
yeah.
What's Tennessee Heat?
Tennessee Heat's the same.
Same
Okay.
deal.
It's the same. There's a few of those starting to pop up for the homeschool kids because it's some of it's so hard to co-op with whatever school you're at or
Right.
supposed to play with. So they got the Monarchs, your Heats that kind of go together and play, and they play a regular high school schedule.
Mhm.
They'll go and they come to our tournament. I know they play Eagleville. They'll play a lot of teams around here, and they have to. The struggle for them is they don't have like a home park, so they just have to find a Shelby Park or something that's available to host games. So it's they're one of those teams that are really nice to have that you could fill in those gaps that you need on Thursdays, Fridays.
And the reason is they're coming to you.
Now, do
They're
they go to
gonna
a
come to
postseason?
you.
Can the Monarchs go to a postseason?
There
How does
is
that
a
work?
postseason for those type teams. I don't know how it's set up.
It's just them. It's
Just them playing each other.
They don't get to come into
Right.
the regular.
I think it's like an
postseason.
invitational
Right.
type
Yeah.
thing, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a type postseason, and there's a lot of too non-TWA Christian academies out there that go to a Christian national tournament, like Lancaster Christian over in Murfreesboro, Smyrna. They are one of those schools that you could pick up and play to fill games in, but they're in their own little association. So,
Well, Coach, you got a tough basketball game tonight against Loretta. How many of your basketball kids come over to baseball?
quite a few.
I figured it.
Yeah, there's I think we got 7,
Okay.
including the freshmen, and so we got 20 basketball guys. So getting close to half will come over and play. So
How you
Have
look
they,
at
have they
baseball?
done anything? Do you allow them to
Yeah.
sort of dual sport right now a little bit?
Yeah,
when you're
what
not
we-
practicing.
He's
usually-
the head coach. Of course he does.
Well,
that's a
I know.
good thing. Is the communication between the baseball coach and the basketball
It's pretty
coach is pretty
good,
good.
At community, it
Yeah,
is.
it's pretty
Community,
good,
it is.
yeah.
Right.
I'll talk to him for you.
Yeah, we'll talk to
Yeah.
him for you.
I'll talk to the coach for you.
But
Hey, let me look in the mirror and see what he's got to
and
say.
see what he's got going
Look me
on.
eye to eye, Bubba.
Tuesdays, when we get to going in January, February, usually if we play on Tuesday, we'll take Wednesday off. We'll have a light day. We'll do film, and that's usually when the guys go throw. Thursday, we're back at practice, and then a lot of the guys do it on their own on the weekends. They'll go out to the field, and they'll go their long toss, and they'll hit on their own. And so a lot of it is, we don't play that with zero that they created. We've got a game scheduled for that last Friday now, just because we had one drop. But usually since they created that last year, we don't play that week because it runs right into the region basketball tournament. And then you got 2 weeks of the season, non-district, and then our district doesn't start till technically week 4, but for us, week 3. So you have a lot of time and games to get guys ready. And it's so daggum cold, you're not going to throw them much anyway.
All right.
I mean, everything's on a limited thing. So, we play a lot of games. You're allowed to play 30, but tournaments only count as 3. So if you go to a tournament, you can play 7 if you want to.
The thing about going to the tourneys is your pitch count stuff.
Yeah, your pitch
you
counts.
got to really,
and it counts JV too. That's the other thing. You got to count those.
And if you got a Forest coming up Monday, Tuesday series, you can't afford to throw your guys in the tournament.
No, you save them up.
You got to save them for those.
You got to, you got to save the arms. And with a 5-team district, you're going to have a bye week too, so that always comes into play. Our bye week is actually that very first week, so we actually won't start district until we get into April. So it works out pretty well for us.
Tell us how's your team looking this year?
It's a unique team. We have no seniors. We have 3 juniors. The rest, we have 25 guys and freshmen and sophomores. We have 11 sophomores, and the rest are freshmen. And last year, we started mostly the freshman group.
I was going to say that young group is pretty athletic, pretty talented in that baseball sport.
Yeah. We've got it's as deep as we've ever been.
They're pretty good,
but we're really young, so the maturity's not there yet. But there's the development. Guys trying to find, hey, this is my best spot. I mean, this is still going to be a learning year for us. I mean, we've got some guys now. They're not when they stepped out there against Eagleville. When we played them last year, it was batting practice. It was. I think it may have ended up like 19-4 or 5. Well, this year when we went out there, now granted they're missing their basketball guys too. I mean, they got some guys that can really play, but Coach Bassam got 8 seniors, a lot of upperclassmen. But we didn't keep score. We just played 9 innings, but. We could tell we weren't making those mistakes that led to a 5-6 run.
Closing the gap a little bit.
Yeah, our pitchers were really doing a nice job of just attacking.
It's going to be hard to close the gap, Coach Bassam, because he don't rebuild, he reloads.
Yes, that's a
unique situation. We won't.
Yeah,
that's another conversation.
Yeah, it's a very good spot to be.
But I'll give this. Was making comment at the Cascade game last night. It didn't happen till he got there.
Yeah.
It didn't happen till he got there.
Yeah.
They didn't win a state championship in baseball till Coach Bassam got there, and now they're 3-peat looking for 4 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Bassam, he goes really under the radar as far as local baseball coaches go. I think at Cascade he had some 3 or 4 state tournaments.
Sure did.
And then now you got 3 state championships. I mean, that stuff just don't happen. Not in baseball.
Nope.
So, I mean, again, when they walked out there, you go, okay, yeah, that looks like Eagleville.
He's got the winning recipe.
Oh, it definitely does. And they don't beat themselves. That's the thing about Eagleville. Right. If you're going to beat them, you got to make the easy plays and don't make big mistakes, because you make a big mistake.
And that's where they're in all sports.
Yeah.
I'll switch gears just a second, talk a little bit college basketball. Tennessee beat LSU this week. Big game today.
Big game.
Crimson Tide and the Volunteers.
Probably playing for the number 1.
Probably
seed.
Could be playing for a number 1
winner
seed.
Probably gets the 1 seed. Probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The winner of that game today will more than likely be the 1 seed going in.
We're Auburn.
I mean, be a 1 seed. Yeah, 4 1 seed.
Oh, you're talking about NCAA.
Yeah,
NCAA. I was going to say, where's Auburn?
Yeah, Alabama took a hit losing was Missouri that they lost to after losing to Auburn. So and if Alabama beats us today, my assistant coach Will Reed is probably going to sit on the end of the bench tonight. So he's not going to be anywhere near me. But I'll make sure if we win, though, he's going to be right beside me.
Where will his daddy be? On the other side of you?
Oh, he'll probably be sitting at home. That's Loretta. That's a long way to drive.
Especially
when you
don't
can put
let
it
him
up on
ride
TV.
the bus. You don't let him get on Terry's bus.
No, Dan ain't riding that bus, buddy. No.
3 o'clock?
3 o'clock today. And we'll have to mention Jason Boyette's favorite team while we're here. The Vanderbilt Commodores had a big upset, guys, over Texas A&M at Texas A&M. And you talk about a team that's imploding right now.
Yeah.
It's A&M.
Yeah.
They've lost 3 in a row, and your next 2 games are at Florida today and Auburn.
Yeah, they're falling apart.
Yeah, A&M is one of those teams that I think Tennessee, a lot of times, they shoot themselves into bad situations by shooting way too many threes. A&M doesn't have enough shooters to, what do you do when you pack it on their bigs? You got to have some guys that can make those shots, and they shoot it poorly.
A&M just really rebounds well. It just keeps them in games. They just rebound so well.
That's it. And, eventually, if they kind of sag off of you, you got to make some shots.
Hey, David, they're doing this to me. They're talking above my head, so I'm just sitting back here listening.
Well, you got Auburn and Kentucky. Auburn and Kentucky's another big ball game today.
That's big.
Yeah. And then Missouri's at Vanderbilt today. And I like Missouri, guys. That's my sort of upset sleeper SEC team.
Me too, but it's hard to win on the road.
It is
hard to win on the road.
Yeah. I heard an interesting stat in college basketball right now is there are so many blue bloods of college basketball that are not ranked. Out of the last 10 years of national champions, only one of those teams is ranked in the top 25, and that's Duke. And they won it in 2015.
NIL's changed it up, hasn't it?
The last 9 national champions are unranked.
NIL transfer portal changed the whole game.
Your Kansas, your Indiana's. I mean, Indiana's a shell of itself.
Right
North
now. Carolina is too.
North Carolina. I mean, you never thought that would fall off.
Didn't see that happen.
And
they still recruit well.
Yeah. I mean,
they recruit well, but they don't get to keep them because they go somewhere else.
Well, they're not playing very well either.
Yeah.
I saw Joe Lenardi's claiming 13 teams make the NCAA tournament out of the SEC. I really don't see that happen. I think it's going to be more like 10, maybe 11 if one of these teams wins the tournament. But I don't see 13 making it, y'all.
I don't. Here's what I don't understand. You add Oklahoma and Texas, and usually a good year for the SEC is you get in, 6 to 7?
6 to 7.
But all of a sudden in 1 year, we had Texas, Oklahoma, and now we got 13 teams that can get in.
I think we get 10. I'd say 10.
I think 10.
I don't know where the math comes in on that.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, we didn't just become it's the same basketball teams in our conference that are winning at the top.
Oh, they're not the same teams. They're better.
I think they just all did so well pre-conference.
Yeah.
I mean, they just
SEC
racked up a bunch of wins.
SEC strength in
They
all
really
sports is just starting to pull away in all sports.
Well, it's that also. I mean, you're loading up in these super conferences.
Yeah.
So all these bids now are going to start going to these things.
It's the same thing in the women's tournament. If you looked at it, there's about 10 SEC teams going to make it in the women's too.
Yeah.
And 10 is a huge number for a
But
conference
they've
to make
been
the
doing
tournament.
that's been common for
Yeah.
women.
And in the women's, right, the first 2 rounds are home court,
Right.
the highest seed.
Right.
So, I mean, you talk about an advantage. I mean, how many of those are going to be top 16 seeds to play the first 2 rounds at home?
Especially like for a team like Tennessee that has really great attendance.
Yes. And play. I mean, there's some teams that are playing really well, at home. Like, I mean, Tennessee could beat a UConn
Right.
at home.
Mhm.
So, and then South Carolina finally looked human,
Right.
on the women's side. So,
And Vanderbilt's got an exciting little freshman girl.
Yes.
She's fun to watch.
yes.
I don't watch a lot of women's basketball, but I've watched her a couple times. That girl's
Speaking of
good.
women's basketball, the last time I was here, we talked about the MTSU Western Kentucky game. I went and watched that. I did get to go. It was MTSU girls are pretty fun to watch.
They're
They
good,
are
and
pretty
that's
fun
that's
to
a
watch.
fun place to go watch a game too. If you've never been over there before,
Yes.
they get the crowd involved. They
Mhm.
get the big screen involved. They have a good time.
That
over there.
was,
those shirts at you. They have a lot. They have a lot of stuff.
I really enjoyed that trip, and their
They're at home
women's-
today. They've got UTEP today.
They
up
are.
in Murfreesboro.
They're fun to watch. It's a good.
It is a good
entertainment
experience. It
atmosphere,
really is.
and
it's not. It's what, $20.
Yeah, it's very
$20
very
get you in.
inexpensive to get in.
The one thing about that, I mean, I was at that level of college basketball, it's always bothered me, like your Belmont, your Lipscomb types, is you'll have a team that's really dominant all year long. And then they get to their tournament and they may slip up in the semis, and now they don't get in.
Right.
That's always
Like a middle,
bothered
like
me.
we were saying.
Yeah,
You
Rick
know.
will have to win the tournament. To
Yeah,
get in.
and
He won't
that's-
get in that large.
I mean, you're
Not
not really
this year.
looking at their
Not
body
He'll
of
have to
work.
win it, and he
You
should
know,
win.
it drives me nuts that
Yeah.
conferences like that are one bid conferences.
Right.
Let's take a break real quick. We'll come back and just touch on the NFL real briefly. We're going to hear from our sponsor, First Bank and Kincaid.
Service.
Company.
We'll be right back.
Kincaid Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street.
Here we go.
Welcome back, everybody. Bedford County Sports Live. Kenny Parker, Jason Boyett, and Mr. Robbie Davis. Guys, y'all probably don't watch the NFL Combine, but I do.
Oh, I did.
Yeah,
I watched it last
had
night.
time to
Mr.
watch.
James Pierce from Tennessee is going to get paid, guys.
He's going to get paid
That's a
anyway.
big run.
He's going to get paid anyway.
6'5", 245, and he ran a 4.47.
Yeah, but he's going to get paid. He was a first round pick.
Yeah.
He's not going to jump up. That's impressive, but he's not going to leap way up the board in front of some of these other guys.
Well, some of these guys,
I agree. Now
they
some
move
of
up.
them did, like the defensive lineman from Florida State.
Mhm.
He may have moved up the board a little bit with that 4 something.
the corner from Kentucky, Maxwell
Yeah,
Hairston,
I saw that. Yeah,
He's
40-inch vertical, 4.28, and he can play.
he's a borderline first, second round pick.
He moved up.
How many of those teams, coach, do you think put more of their stock in the combine than they do what's on film?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
Not anymore.
Since the Raiders stopped drafting the way they do.
Jerry Jones might still do it. I don't know.
Not anymore.
Wouldn't shock me.
I mean, Titans done it a couple years
They
ago.
have.
And
Titans been bad about
it. And it hurt them.
Yeah.
I got this. David Thomas is going to like this a little bit. We talked about it. I was reading. I like to read. Reading on the Titans trading their number 1 pick to the Raiders. Okay? Trading their number 1 pick to the Raiders. And we talked about it, and we all agree we think they need to trade.
Mm-hmm.
This one was to the Raiders, getting the Raiders 1, 2, 3 this year, and their 2 next year.
count me in.
Okay, count me in. Boom!
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah.
Done.
going to sign in the 6th pick. David, don't you knock your computer over.
44.
From Penn State,
Yes.
the tight end from Penn State.
They need
And Bill, don't hit me, but signing Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But
Him and Will Levis, what could
telling
go
you,
wrong?
now, I think, hey, that might be the battle in the locker room you want to see.
Ooh.
But then we were talking outside, and I like what you guys are saying that you're hearing, trading with the Giants. And if they trade with the Giants and just get the Giants' 1st pick and 2nd pick this year,
I'd do it for that.
It'll take a 2 and a 3 to make it to
and
make the
Bill's
math.
saying
definitely
it'll
do
take
that,
a 2 and a 3, and that's the more. But if they trade with the Giants, they're going to pick up a pick.
Yes.
They're going to save a little money and probably still get the player that they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Bill's over here hollering with this Aaron Rodgers deal, and he's shaking his. But you know what Aaron Rodgers would do that Amy Adams would think about? He's going to put people in the seats to watch him.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, if
He
Matthew
wouldn't-
Stafford hadn't stayed with the Rams, we wouldn't be having this conversation because everybody thought the Raiders were going to get him. They didn't. He stays with the
Right.
Rams, which leaves the Raiders
which
in the
helped
quarterback
the
market.
Titans. That helped the
helps the
Titans.
Titans.
It does help the
and,
Titans.
and that also is why you're hearing more of the Rodgers deal, because Rodgers was going to be linking to the Rams.
Right.
Because of him staying, now the Raiders are still in play. The Raiders are still needing that quarterback now.
Mhm.
Yes.
Which that's where I could still see Aaron Rodgers ending up was with the Raiders. That seems like a
Yeah,
Rodgers move to me.
yeah.
I could see him
I
in
can
the
see that.
silver and black, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think also you got to look at the Jets here. They need a quarterback. They've gotten rid of Rodgers. They don't have anybody. They're
Right.
still in the quarterback market too. They may be trying to trade up.
Yeah, they very well could be. But hey, Jets, Giants, Raiders,
Yeah.
you're still top 6.
Yeah.
You're not going to,
Maybe you
and
guys
you-
can explain this to me.
and you get a chance to get David Thomas's pick.
Everybody
Oh,
says
quarterback.
Cleveland's going to go quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He is good.
How do you go quarterback when you're on the hook for Deshaun Watson for about $80 million this year?
I
And
think.
it is so expensive to take a top 2 or
Did
3 quarterback.
Did they not? I think they've done something with his contract because he's got into some trouble.
He's not probably going to play this year because he retore his Achilles.
I think there's something in his contract that will allow them to squeeze a little bit of that big time money out.
See, that's the thing. I don't understand. Like, okay, you remember when Peyton had gotten hurt and he didn't play that whole year.
Yes.
And then there was a certain date where they either had to pay him X amount of money or cut him, and that money becomes dead money, right?
Right.
So, in Major League Baseball, it's all guaranteed. You got to pay them, no matter if you pay them for the next. I mean, the Reds are still playing.
Deshaun Watson's contract was guaranteed.
Is it guaranteed?
That was the problem with the contract.
So, can they take that though and do like Major League Baseball and say, okay, we owe you $80 million. We're going to pay you that over the next 20 years?
I think that has to be written down.
Question for y'all. What do you think about Shedeur Sanders not throwing?
No big deal. A lot of guys don't throw.
I don't think that's a big deal.
What does that tell you?
Cam Ward's not throwing, I don't think.
No, that just tells you neither one.
He's saying, "Go look at my film. I've done enough."
I don't watch much of the combine. Did the tight end that you like from Penn State? Did he run in the 40?
He goes today. He goes today.
He does.
He's probably not going to run though.
I would if I'm one of those elite players. If I'm one of those elite players that they're talking about, I'm not doing any of that.
All you can do is hurt yourself.
Exactly. All you can do is hurt yourself because your name's you're already out there. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
My take on
the same reason they don't play in a bowl game.
I think my take on 44 is the Titans have not had a true tight end that takes pressure off the quarterback. And they need that chip blocker, and they need somebody that can block, and they need a Travis Kelce type tight end that can catch the ball in the middle of that field in the crowd.
Yeah.
And I think 44
chain mover.
And I'll say this: the tight end room this year's, I think there's about 5 tight ends.
Yeah.
It's probably the deepest tight end group we've had in a long time.
It's a pretty good tight end group.
All the great teams that win the Super Bowl have a option 1 and an option 2. And the Titans, it's been a while since they've had a 2 options.
Delaney Walker, and that's it.
But I think Titan fans have just got to be patient.
They got to be patient.
There's nothing going to happen in this draft that's going to go from here to here.
And I don't think this next year's team ought to be Callahan's. If you don't win this year, hey, I don't care who the coach is, ain't gonna win this year.
He's done. You can write that down. He's done. He's got 1 year.
Better make some improvement.
I would draft
improvement. I can say that, but the win
what would be an improvement? What would the record be?
Competitive.
7 wins, 6 wins,
7 or 8.
Yeah. Be around that 500.
But I wouldn't be tore up completely knowing that if I finished in a position to where I position myself at a real shot at Arch Manning. That's kind of me. I would be drafting for, hey, we're going to do everything we can because that guy is a game changer.
I really don't think Arch will come out next year. I think
he may
2
not.
years away.
He may not, but I would still.
I think he's at least 2 years away.
Because Manning's equals Super Bowls.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about it. If Arch were to come out next year, it means he's only played 1 collegiate year.
It's a Manning.
You can't. I understand he's got a name.
Yeah.
But we've seen what's happened to those kids that's just played 1 year and had 1 good year. I made a comment a couple weeks ago when I was here, and all 3 of them dogged me pretty good with the Jones kid from Alabama who set back and only started 1 year. He won the national championship. He was a first-round pick. And now nobody sort of wants him.
Yeah.
I think
that
happens more than people realize.
I think there is just not enough franchise quarterbacks playing college football. Right. You look across the landscape of college football, other than Arch Manning, you take that out. Who's your next guy?
Here's my reason for that. They're out there. Yeah. They just jump from school to school, and they don't really get coached up.
Right. So many assistant quarterbacks in college now, too. Yes. I think that's hurting it.
Yes.
And college game's different than pro game.
This whole
spread offense.
The spread offense
is what's hurting quarterbacks.
Yeah, because it goes back to your can't read the defense. Right? You're not in the pocket. You're not going read 1, 2, 3.
We'll hand it off here. Make a quick
look at what's been in the Super Bowl the last few years, and that's where they're going.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to, those quarterbacks running, because It puts extra pressure on the defense. I heard it on the radio today, and I agree 100%. Defense is so hard to play nowadays because of what the offenses are doing.
Yeah.
And one of the best defenses you can have is to have a great offense to keep it away from the other team.
Yeah.
Abdul
why you're
Carter's
seeing
stock
more.
went down this week.
Yeah, with his foot
Defensive
injury.
end with a foot injury. No thanks.
Yeah,
but that'll be who the Titans probably take.
Oh,
That'll be the Titans winner.
Yeah, that's a no-go.
I don't want a guy that's already hurt before we
no.
start.
No, not at all.
History says we'll take him.
Yep. I'll take
History says he's a Titan.
give me Travis Hunter. He's the safest
Well,
guy
I
on the
agree with
board.
you
I've
on
said
that.
the whole time.
Yeah, if you're going
Guys
to
gotta
pick,
play.
take Hunter.
Years ago, the draft just happened to be in Nashville.
Oh,
and the
that's
Titans
fun.
went out on a limb, and they drafted this defensive lineman. I don't know if he's any good. He was hurt. Knew he wasn't going to be able to play.
We got lucky on that one.
Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah.
And then they tried to do it the next year with the quarterback corner from Virginia Tech.
Yeah,
and
that
it
worked out well.
didn't.
Simmons is a
pan
tackle,
out.
right?
Huh?
Simmons,
Yeah.
Jeff Simmons.
Yeah, it's
He's a
different.
defensive
To
tackle.
me, it's a difference.
But
Foot
At
injury
the end,
tackle.
you're really using that foot
Yeah.
coming off that corner.
This is what's happened to the Titans. COVID hit. And when COVID hit, they didn't get a chance to interview or do any of that. And they signed their number one pick, which was a high number one pick, the tackle out of Georgia.
The Panda.
And
Bill was a big Farley guy. He liked Farley a lot.
I think somebody just needs to go back.
Jason
You
Collins.
need to go back to Houston and go dig through whatever box they got the old draft process where they got your Eddie Georges, your Steve McNairs. Dust that off and bring it to Nashville, because since they've been in Nashville, who has been their quality top first round picks?
Mm-hmm.
Bring your Trapper Keeper. Bill's got a big Trapper Keeper full of combine notes and
All right,
we're getting there. Let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah, he does.
Hey, we got games tonight. Cascade, going to Mount Pleasant.
Going to Mount Pleasant.
You're making a long journey down to Little Rapids.
Hey, well,
we leaving in 10 minutes.
You're not far from leaving. Terry's got the bus warming up right now.
And guess what? Those are district games next year.
And those are both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them. Yeah.
And everybody out there, don't forget about Shovel.
I'm glad you made that comment, because you are playing next year's district game.
Yeah.
And then Shovel hosting tonight.
Hosting Nolensville right here. Get out and support them.
7
Be
o'clock.
fun.
All games are 7 o'clock.
Yep.
7 o'clock.
All games are
This
7
one's,
o'clock.
I thought this was 6 or 6.
I got it.
Shovel 6 o'clock, I believe.
I thought they had to play all of the games.
Ours is 7.
Yeah, I thought the state said they had to all be at 7 o'clock.
Well, before you come, you better check.
Yeah, check it right quick before we get off air. Let's
Twitter that up.
Twitter it up.
Twitter it up.
Exit up.
Give me a
Jason uses Twitter.
Exit up.
He's Twitter man.
I use Coach
I don't even
T.
have it on my phone.
Here we go, Coach T. Tell me what's going on.
Tomorrow's, look here. Our Golden Eagle basketball team takes on Nolensville tomorrow, 6 p.m.
I thought it was 6. 6 p.m.
Yeah, see what
We think it's 6. Get
We
there at
think
6.
it's
If
6.
it's not,
Hey, get there at
extra
6 and
concessions.
you're sure
That's
to
right.
be there on time.
Yeah.
But you get there at 6, it's going to be boring because y'all can't take the floor until 20
30
minutes. 30
30.
minutes.
Mhm.
No basketballs, though,
No
until
30 minutes
15.
basketballs.
Okay, because
Yeah.
last night,
You can get on the floor whenever.
last night they got on the floor at 30 minutes.
30.
But they didn't have a basketball till 15 minutes.
It's supposed to be 30.
Well, let's wrap this thing up. We're going to thank our sponsors, First Bank right here in Shelbyville, and Kincaid.
Service.
company.
We'll be back here next week. And thanks, Robbie Davis. We enjoyed you. Anytime.
Yes,
We'll be back
sir.
next week.
And looking at Coach T here, every game is at 7 o'clock except for the shovel, and it's at 6 o'clock.
I get to go to bed earlier then.
Every game on this docket, just about,
I think it's 6
is 7 o'clock.